When I was 3 years old, my mom took me shopping at a mall in Ohio while my dad was at work. We were browsing through the Gap outlet when I got bored and started running around the store. My mom, trying to keep up with me, promised a visit to Build-A-Bear if I behaved. I was ecstatic at the thought of creating my own stuffed animal, so I quickly calmed down and followed my mom to the store. As we entered, I was immediately drawn to the colorful displays and the sound of children's laughter. My mom handed me a pink heart-shaped pillow and told me to fill it with love and wishes before placing it inside my chosen bear. While my mom was busy picking out a bear for me, I wandered off to explore the store. I found myself in front of a display of mannequins, and being a curious child, I started pretending to be one. I stood still, trying to mimic the mannequins' poses, when I noticed a man with a disheveled appearance staring at me from a nearby bench. At first, I thought he was just another customer waiting for his child, but as I continued to play, I realized that he was only staring at me. I felt pretty scared, but being a naive child, I smiled and waved at him. He didn't wave back, but his creepy stare intensified, making me feel uncomfortable. I decided to leave the mannequin display and find my mom, but as I turned around, I saw the man following me. I didn't know what to do, so I just continued walking, hoping that he would go away. But he didn't, and instead he started talking to me. He asked me about my name and age, and he asked if I liked candy. As naive as I was, I fell for the trick and said that I liked candy, obviously. There was a candy store inside the mall, so he asked if we should go there and buy some candy. I said yes. I was excited, all until I felt his arms grabbing hold of me. I screamed, telling him to stop. My mom suddenly appeared, looking worried and angry. She yelled at the man to stay away from me and grabbed my hand, pulling me away from him. I'd never seen my mom this angry before. She was ready to kill. I could see it in her eyes. The man quickly fled, and my mom immediately took me to the security office to report the incident. The security team searched the mall for the man, but he had already disappeared. My mom was shaking with fear and anger, and I could see tears in her eyes as she hugged me tightly. It wasn't until I was older that I fully understood the danger I was in that day. The man was a predator, and he had targeted me because I was a vulnerable child. My innocent wave and friendly smile could have led to a terrible outcome if my mom hadn't intervened. From that day on, my mom never left my side while shopping, and she always reminded me to be careful around strangers. As for the man, he was never caught, and I often wonder if he had targeted other children in the mall that day. That experience has stayed with me throughout my life. I never thought working at an outdoor mall in a seemingly safe neighborhood could be so terrifying. I was 19 years old, fresh out of high school and looking for a summer job. When I saw the kiosk at the mall, I thought it was the perfect opportunity. Little did I know, it would turn into a nightmare. At first, everything seemed normal. I would spend my days selling jewelry to customers and chatting with my coworkers. However, one day, a man came up to my kiosk and started asking me strange questions. He seemed harmless enough, just curious about the products I was selling. But as the days went by, his visits became more frequent and his questions more intrusive. I tried to brush it off, thinking he was just a lonely man looking for someone to talk to. But then he started making unwelcome advances towards me. He would stand too close, touch my hand when I handed him change, and make inappropriate comments. I felt uncomfortable and scared, but I didn't know what to do. That's when Linda, the security woman at the mall, stepped in. She had been watching the man and noticed his behavior towards me. She came over to my kiosk and asked if I was okay. I told her about the man and she immediately took action. She told him to leave and not to come back. I was relieved and grateful for her help, but the man didn't stop there. He would still come to the mall, but now he would just stand at a distance, staring at me with a creepy smile on his face. I could feel his eyes on me at all times, and it made me shiver. Linda noticed this and offered to walk me to my car after work. I gladly accepted, feeling safer with her by my side. However, one day, as I was leaving work, I saw the man at a gas station near my car. I panicked and quickly got into my car, making sure to lock the doors. I drove away as fast as I could, but I couldn't shake off the feeling that he was following me. I was supposed to go to a party that night, but I was too scared to go alone. I called Linda and explained the situation to her. She immediately offered to come pick me up and take me to the party. She even stayed with me the whole night, making sure the man didn't approach me. The next day, Linda told me that she had seen the man at the mall again, but this time he was looking for me. She had called the police, and they were able to apprehend him. It turned out he had a history of stalking and harassing young women. I was grateful to Linda for her help and protection. She made me feel safe, and I couldn't thank her enough. Without her, I don't know what could have happened. I had been feeling stressed out lately, with exams and assignments piling up. So when my friends suggested a shopping trip to the mall, I eagerly agreed. We spent hours going from store to store, trying on clothes and laughing together. It was the perfect stress-relieving activity. As the day wore on, our stomachs started rumbling, and we decided to head to the food court. I was excited to finally get some food in my system after all the shopping. But then, I felt a sudden urge to use the restroom. I told my friends to go ahead and take my order, while I quickly went to the restroom. I walked into the restroom, relieved that there was no one else inside. I went into one of the stalls and locked the door behind me. As I was about to finish, I noticed a shadow moving under the door of the adjacent stall. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just someone else using the restroom. But then, I heard the sound of a camera shutter. My heart started racing as I realized that someone was taking photos of me. I quickly pulled up my pants and shouted, "Hey, what are you doing?" The shadow under the door disappeared, and I heard the sound of someone running away. I quickly unlocked the door and ran out of the restroom, my heart pounding in my chest. I found my friends waiting for me at our table in the food court. They could see the panic on my face and immediately asked me what was wrong. I told them what had happened, and they were just as shocked as I was. We alerted the security, and they quickly called the police. The police arrived, and we gave them a description of the person I saw in the restroom. They searched the entire mall, but they couldn't find anyone matching the description. They even checked the restroom, but it was closed for maintenance. I couldn't believe it. Was I just imagining things? But I was sure I saw someone in the adjacent stall. The incident left me feeling scared and alone, despite the support of my friends and the authorities. I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was being watched. The police told me that they would check the CCTV footage and try to find the culprit. Days went by, and I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. I started feeling paranoid, constantly looking over my shoulder and avoiding going out alone. My friends tried to cheer me up, but I couldn't shake off the feeling of being violated.